share how things going here in Russia. It's actually much safer here coronavirus-wise in Russia because we have about 7,500 cases nationwide and about, I guess, 11, 12 cases here in my hometown, Volgograd. So it is much more safe to be here compared to United States. Um, yes, and but the quarantine measures are pretty strict here, so people not allowed to walk outside. They're not allowed to walk further than 100 or 150 meters away from the residential buildings because police stops them and check their passports and see where they're registered at. So right now, on local Craigslist, you can find a lot of ads where people buying a dog because with a dog you're allowed to walk outside a little bit. So I'm just thinking maybe I should just get a dog leash and walk around my building. And, just the police stops me, tell them, well, was walking my dog and it ran away. So I'm looking for it. Okay, it's a joke. I mean, I'm not going to break the quarantine and I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do for everybody's sake, for everybody's safety. And hopefully you guys doing the same and staying inside, being safe. And we're all looking forward to, for the life to get back to normal so we can resume our jobs, our lives, just get back to our normal daily routine and, reconnect with our friends and be able to travel for God's sake finally, so you guys can see the women that you've been writing to all this time. I'm sure they're anxiously waiting for you, wherever it is. Ukraine is about the same as Russia right now. It's relatively safe as far as virus spreading. But the borders are closed. They're not letting anybody in or out. Belarus, on the other hand, is pretty safe. There is nothing going on in Belarus. They don't have quarantine going on because I think they had one case and that's it. And so nothing changed in Belarus. I talked to my family members over there and life is just normal. Thinking that's where I should be stuck, not Russia, but oh well. Anyway, guys, you stay safe there, stay inside, and I will see you on another Monday night webcast. Have a good day. From Russia with love.
Hello guys, my name is Anna and I live in Odessa. Odessa is a very beautiful city, as all you know, and right now during the self-isolation we have to stay at home. We have to protect ourselves. Of course, we have to wash our hands and make sure that we wear a mask and gloves when we're going outside. But first of all, what I want to tell you that it's time for us to think what we really want in life, to think whom we want to see in our lives, and to understand what a future will expect you after it, what you will do after it, and what you can do to make your wife, your future girlfriend, to be closer to you. You can write letters on our website.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today on our Monday night web conference. We've got a lot of things to talk about today. It's going to be a little bit different because we're going to talk about some of the side benefits, some of the things that we don't talk about so much that you get when you do an AFA singles tour. There's so many different components to these tours, and there's so many different things that you can take away from it. And we want to talk about some of the things that are just not so much focused about meeting the woman of your dreams. Yes, that is the main reason for the tour, but there's a lot more that goes on during these tours. And I want to share a little bit with that, a little bit of that with you here tonight. But first of all, for those of you that don't know me, my name is John Adams, co-founder of Foreign Affair. We've been doing this now for 25 years, so you'd think we'd have some idea what the heck we're doing by now. But you know what? We learn something new every day, it seems, so it's really cool, especially with this whole new world we're living in with the COVID-19 type stuff going on. You see there's not a lot of social distancing happening. As a matter of fact, we're like the anti-social distancing people, right? We want to bring people together. And right now we're being told we can't do that. And that's really, really against what our philosophy is. We want to get you offline where it's nice and safe right now and put you right in the danger of being together. Before it was dangerous for other reasons. You might fall in love. And now it's dangerous because you might die of the virus. So we have to be a little careful how we go about doing this, and we will be. We're constantly in contact with our different offices worldwide. to get an idea and just a pulse of what's going on in their countries. And a lot of their countries are doing a lot of really much more restrictive social distancing, or much more restrictive measures in order to keep everybody safe than at least what I've seen here in Arizona, where we are. And that may be a great thing for us, because hopefully that means that we'll be able to do something like this a lot sooner, something like what you're seeing on the screen right now with all the wonderful socials and the dates and all the great stuff that we do. So hopefully soon, guys. We do have our June and July tours still on the board, and I'm still hopeful. I just talked with our office manager in China, in Shenzhen, and she's cautiously optimistic that we'll be able to do that tour in June in China. We're hoping, but again, a lot of that's going to depend on the airlines. It's going to depend on the rules and regulations that China is going to impose on incoming foreigners and all that good stuff. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, right? But I'm hoping that we can get you guys there to China in June. And then we have our tours coming up. Well, we also Costa Rica tour in June, and then the ones in July. And we're really, really hoping that we can do those in July. I mean, look, our tours are large. They just are. They're very well attended by both the men and the women. And so that poses somewhat of an issue given the problems with large group gatherings. So hopefully we can get around that some way. The last thing I want to do is keep everybody, 6 feet away from each other, or 8 feet away, or 12 feet away, whatever the heck it is today. Because that's not how our socials work. We try to bring people close together. We try to get a sense of where that chemistry is between the two people. We've been doing that for many, many, many years, and we'll be doing it again soon. But if we have to adapt somehow, then we will. Whatever it takes to get you guys back over there in person, because I can tell you that it is not the same as doing a Skype, right? Or doing chat or whatnot. None of that can replace that in-person, one-on-one meeting. And that's what a foreign affair has always strived for 25 years, is bringing you together one-on-one. And we're going to continue doing that. But we have to just wait a little bit longer until it's safe to do so. But we'll be here. No problem. The seminars. I really miss the seminars. I never thought that I would miss them as much as I do, but I miss seeing you guys. I guess I just took them for granted that I could just, we could put up these wonderful dates for the seminars, and you guys would come and we would talk and we would have this wonderful give and take and the interaction and everything. And it's been difficult because we have not been able to go to the wonderful cities and see you guys. And quite frankly, it sucks. I'd love to be out there meeting you, shaking hands and all that great stuff. And unfortunately, again, we can't do that either. But we are doing the seminars virtually, and we're going to have one this weekend, right? It's going to be, we're going to do Sunday for those seminars that would have taken place in both, where was it this Sunday? Going to be in Detroit, I believe, and Chicago. Yeah, Chicago was supposed to be May 2nd, and Detroit May 3rd. So we're going to put those two together. We're going to do one virtual seminar on May 3rd. That's going to be Sunday, May 3rd. And you'll start getting the calls and the emails if you are registered for that seminar, either one of those seminars, that will give you the login information that you will need to be able to log in virtually to watch this, right? And a couple weeks ago we did it, and we had clients, ex-clients calling in and sharing their experiences. We had office managers from the Ukraine, from Latin America calling in and telling you what to expect if you're going to go there. I was there. It was exciting. It was fun. It's not the same as being there, okay? I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I enjoyed or I think it's as good as in-person meetings. That's why we travel. That's why we do the airfare and the hotels, just to be able to be in front of you guys. But it's the next best thing, and it's well worth doing, because if you RSVP and you attend, you'll still receive all the social-only discounts that you would have gotten, the seminar-only discounts that you would have received if you had gone to an in-person seminar. All right, so it's well worth attending, and it goes by pretty quick. We went well over 4 hours not last Saturday, but the Saturday prior, and I imagine it'll go, at least 3, if not 4 hours this time. Because we go through a lot of information. I do it just like a regular seminar. You know, if you're going to come and you're going to spend the morning with us and you're going to do your due diligence and you're going to be there, you deserve to have the proper presentation. And so we put out the energy, we go through all the information, and we do what we would normally do if we were in a conference room in a hotel in Detroit, right? That's how this works. And so on May 3rd, for those 2 seminars that we would have normally done in person, right, both in Detroit and Chicago. And I love going to Chicago and I love going to Detroit. Those are 2 really cool cities, and I'm so bummed that I can't go there. But you know, this thing will be over soon, and we'll be able to have the large groups again and not have to worry about violating any kind of ordinance or anything like that. Things are starting to open up a little bit throughout the country, and I'm sure they're hesitant and they want to do it safely to avoid any other problems. But we'll see how it goes over the next 30 days or so, and hopefully we're talking tours here real soon. All right. All right. So, and guys, just because you don't live in Detroit or Chicago does not mean that you cannot participate in that seminar, because we've had guys that will travel to another city. I've had guys from New York fly to Phoenix just for the seminar, so they get the information, take advantage of the seminar discounts, partake in the wonderful food that's there, all that cool stuff, right? So if you do want to partake in the upcoming seminar this Sunday, May 3rd, just go to the site and register for it, all right? All right, we also have a poll question tonight, guys, because our topic tonight is going to be about the fringe benefits that you get, the unintended consequences that happen when you go on a tour. And there are unintended consequences, because I know what the intention is, right? I know the intended consequence is find the love of your life, get married, and live happily ever after, right? That's what you're really after. That's what you're looking for, and I get that. And we've been helping guys do that for 25 plus years. But there's more to these tours than just that. There really is. It's a really cool social experience. And so I want to know what your favorite foreign food is, or tradition, and why. Okay? And I'll tell you what mine is a little bit later, right? I'll tell you my favorite food, and I'll tell you my favorite foreign food and my favorite traditions. And that's hard because I've been to a lot of different places, but I've got some ideas. Because guys, when you do something like this, you can see just from the video that you're seeing behind me, right? So, and I like this video because you don't have to sit there and look at me for an hour. You can look at some of the cool things that we've done over the years with these socials and whatnot. But this is just one part of the tour. This is like during the social. This social is 4 or 5 hours. The tour is 10, 14 days, whatever it is, whatever length of time that particular tour happens to be. So you're only seeing a microcosm of what really happens while you're there, right? And yes, the socials are important. They're a big part of what we do. They're a great vehicle that we use in order to introduce you to as many possible candidates, as many women as we can in a short amount of time. And it works really, really well. I mean, I just can't tell you how many marriages we've had, including my own, as a result of these socials. They're a fantastic tool. But there's a whole nother side of what's going on when you're over there. I mean, we have city tours, right, that we take you and we show you the sites that you might want to spend a little bit more time at exploring with the different women that you're meeting, or maybe just with an interpreter that you hire for the day, or whatever it is. But you have that. You're going out with some of the other guys that are on the tour. I mean, on some of the tours we have maybe 25, 30, 40 guys that are there. And not everyone is going out on a date at every minute of the day, right? And sometimes you have a little bit of downtime. You just want to go have a beer with someone and just go out and explore a restaurant where you don't speak the language maybe, and you have to look at a menu, and the menu's all in the foreign language wherever you are, whether it's China or Thailand or Ukraine, wherever it is, and they don't speak any English. And it's kind of an adventure to see what you're going to get. And you're trying to find a picture on that menu maybe that you can recognize. And then you're pointing to some kind of food or say, okay, I'll try this. And when the food comes, it's maybe totally different than what you thought it was going to be, but it's still really cool because it's an adventure. It's you're out and you're exploring these things that most Americans will never, ever do. And that's a real cool byproduct, unintentional consequence of the group tours. Or even the individual tours. When you go over individually, you still will experience all these things that you didn't really sign up for. You didn't really realize you were going to have this hour-long talk with a taxi cab driver who speaks broken English and is telling you what life was like before communism kind of died away, and how he had to adjust, and how his life was before that and how it is now. And he might be telling you how he really liked it much better before that, how he had a lot more privilege, how he had a lot more access to certain restaurants, to certain things that he now no longer has. And maybe he is longing for those days that maybe in his mind he built up to be better than they really were, because we have a habit of doing that. But my point is, you're talking to these different individuals that have really nothing to do with a foreign affair. The only reason that you're even meeting them is because you happen to have taken the tour with a foreign affair, and now you're there and you're meeting these different people in between the times where you're with us at the socials or you're on a date or something like that. You know, I had a phone call today, and it's funny because I was planning on talking about this tonight on the show, but I had a phone call just about an hour ago. And the guy called up, and he's not planning on going for about another year or so, and he's talking to me about all the different things. And he's like, you know, I want to go over just as, because I view this as something that's really unique. It's really different. It's like unlike any other kind of group tour that's out there. Yet I don't know if I'm really ready to get married yet or not. I mean, do I have to commit basically to be, you know, becoming engaged or being extremely serious in that pursuit to go on one of your tours? And I thought, you know, that's really interesting. You called and talked about that, because I'm talking about this tonight on the show. And the answer is no. You know, look, this tour is one of the best group tours that's not really a group tour you ever go on. And it is a social awakening for a lot of men when they go and they meet all these wonderful women, and the women show them their culture, their way of doing things, which is so different in some cases than what we do here. And it's really enlightening for a lot of people, and it's a great social experience. You'll meet a lot of friends and you'll have a wonderful time. So, you know, yeah, you should be a single male to be on the tour, because that's what the whole group thing is about, right? So that's important. But you don't have to sign a contract saying, I promise that I will get married during this tour. You know, and of course, it's not some kind of a sex tour where you're going over just to see how many women that you can conquer, right? That's not how this works at all either. But it is an amazing social opportunity to go over and see another culture, see another side of the world through the eyes of local women, who will take you around and show you the sights, do all that kind of stuff. And maybe you're not ready to get married yet, but you're going to have a great time while you're there and meet some wonderful women. And you know what? You never know. It's the guys who say that they're not quite ready yet to get married, but they're open to it, are the ones that usually end up getting married first. And the guys that are ready to sign that contract that they promise that they will get married during that tour are usually the guys that don't find the person that they want to get married to, because they put so much pressure on themselves and everyone else that it's difficult for them to actually find someone that they're not scaring away, because they're basically trying to interview everyone at every table, and the women can sense that, and you know, they want to feel like they're being courted, like they're special. Not that they're just someone being interviewed, and if you fit all these little marks and check all the boxes that, yeah, you know, I can go with you. That's not what they want. They want romance, they want love, they want to feel special. And when you go on these tours, you have that opportunity to find that. But you're also going to have a lot of other fun doing a lot of other things. And that's why I've had guys, and you've heard this if you guys have watched this show before, been to the seminars, or have talked to me at any length. You know, one of the best complaints that I have had was a guy who came to me and said, John, the biggest complaint I have about this tour is that it worked, and I can't do it again. Because they are enjoyable, guys. They are fun, and they're about the same cost as a regular vacation abroad. It's about what you would pay. Do the math. We have, I mean, when you go to the seminars, we show you, we have the comparisons, we did it, and you'll see that it's about the same cost, but there's so much more you get with this compared to any other tour out there. I don't care. Name a tour, any one. And I can tell you that the value will be way better with this, because you get so much more with this compared to anything else out there. And if you're a single male and you're contemplating going on any other kind of tour, you got to look at this and say, okay, why wouldn't I do this compared to X, Y, or Z? And if you can come up with a compelling reason, please call me and tell me, because I can't think of one. Because this is just so much fun in so many different ways, meeting all these wonderful women, going to these socials, going on the one-on-one dates, having them show you the city through their eyes. All that stuff is really, really cool. All right. I can go on forever talking about this. I love it. I think it's great, but I want to get to some of your questions because we have a ton of questions that you guys are asking, which is great. I really appreciate that because you guys are the reasons we do this Monday night show. We've been doing this call off and on for the last 20 plus years now. We started with a call and now it's kind of morphed and evolved into this webinar or webcast, whatever you want to call it, that we do now. And normally we would have Dina here and Anna here and all that, but because of all the issues with COVID, Anna's stuck in Russia, somewhere in Volgograd, so she can't be with us today. And Dina's at home, quarantining and all that good stuff. So I'm in here at the office all by myself doing a show just so we can bring you something. And I would rather that it would be coming from, Anna or Dina. They're much better looking than me. But I still do have some knowledge on how all this works. So hopefully I can be of some help here today, but we'll get them back in here too for you guys. So Marty writes, number one, it's so hard for me to write about me. So you offer help in this department, LOL. Actually, Marty, that's a great question, and there's nothing to laugh about there because it's actually a very, very important thing. Because we get a lot of men that will ask us for assistance in their letters, or what should I write back to her? Just like a lot of the women will ask the matchmakers there for assistance in their letters, not just their introduction letter, but ongoing letters. And they will get assistance with a lot of their letters. And guys, especially our executive guys and others, will ask for assistance. We won't go into Joe right now, but Joe's one of the tour leaders there. And you can call and you can talk with Dina, you could talk with Anna, you can email Anna and ask her some questions about what you think you should write to the women. Or if there's a specific letter and she's asking you some questions, you're not sure about the best way to respond to that, call and ask, and we'll be happy to help you. I'll be happy to help as well. But you might be better off getting the advice from someone like Anna, Maria, one of the female matchmakers that can assist you in that. So yeah, Marty, no problem. Also, you would like to know, do these women really care about the age difference? Well, Marty, yes, I think some of the women do care, right? It depends on where you are. It depends on the age difference. It depends on how old the man and the women are. With the age difference, there's a lot of different factors that go into it. I could tell you one rule of thumb that I have is once you get much over a 20-year age difference, you got to be a little bit more careful of everyone's intentions, agenda, and all that good stuff, right? So in most of the destinations that we go to, if there's a 20-year or less age difference, you could probably be okay, but even with a 20-year, 18, 19-year age difference, 17-year age difference, you want to be careful, but you'll probably be okay. Once you start getting much more than that, the risk level does go up, especially if she's younger, and that's a big deal too. If she's 19 or 20 years old and you've got a 20 plus year age difference, you're 40, 42, 44, 45, 50, that could be problematic, right? So you want to be really careful about that. If she's 30, let's say, or 35, and you're, 45, 50, now, that's making more sense. She's had a lot more life experience. She knows more what she wants. She's older. She's more mature. You're mature. So that tends to work a little bit better, a little bit safer, as long as you have that chemistry together. Look, Tanya and I, we've been together now for 23 years. We've been married for over 21 years. And we have, a really good chemistry, and that was from the very beginning. But we have a 9-year age difference, and that works for me just fine. I have a partner who has closer to a 20-year age difference, and they've been married about the same length of time, right? Over 20 years. And they just celebrated their anniversary over the weekend, actually, and that works for them just fine. It's a matter of pairing the two people together, their energy, their aura, if you will, all that cool stuff, and making sure that chemistry is there. Things in common, things you like to do together, all that kind of stuff needs to be there. And then the age difference isn't quite as important. I've seen 40+ year age differences that work, and to this day are still working very well. And I've seen 5-year age differences go up in flames. But in general, right, you want to keep that age difference, within the same generation or close to it if you can. All right. Again, don't forget about our poll question, guys, because I really like all the fringe benefits, if you will, of going on a tour, all those unintended consequences, all the cool stuff that happens. I mean, even karaoke. How often do you do karaoke? Okay, probably not that much unless you're karaoke buff. But when you're over, let's say in the Ukraine or in the Philippines, they love karaoke. And you probably get dragged to a karaoke bar, and you might be belting out, a version of Sinatra's "I Did It My Way" or something like that, right? Which you never would have done normally, but you're in this strange bar in a strange country, and you probably won't see the majority of these people ever again in your life. And what the heck? And you're just out there having fun, just doing fun, different stuff like that you just don't normally do. Okay, let's see here. And number 3, so many beautiful women on your site. I love it. Yes, Marty, there are a ton of beautiful women on the site, but just look at this video. You can see them in the video. They're there as well. I mean, it's just amazing. Glenn wants to know, do you know any updates on when Colombia will open up their borders? No, not this time I don't. I haven't talked to Maria in a few days, though, so there might be some changes. So we'll check. But at this time, I'm really not sure when they're going to open up, but I'm hoping soon. They've been pretty restrictive on what they've done. I mean, to the point where you can only go out like 2 times a week, and when you go out, if you're female, there's only females out. And then if it's your time to go, and they do it like depending on the ending numbers of your ID card, right? Odd, even, that kind of stuff. But then you have to be male or female now to go out too, so that the police can really detect who's cheating and who's not a lot easier. So yeah, it's much more restrictive in Colombia with their whole lockdown and everything that they're doing there. But their cases have been fewer, and so we'll have to see what happens. I'm hoping they'll open up here soon, because I'd love to we have an August tour coming up there, I believe, and I'd love to be able to do that there in Colombia. All right, McKissick says, I like Kung Pao chicken. I just purchased an electric wok, and I've already prepared my second batch of it. I like the spiciness. You and my son, I'll tell you, my son, that kid should go into a spice eating contest. A Kung Pao chicken, he'll go to like a Thai place, and they'll have a scale of 1 to 10. He'll say 10 being the hottest, he'll go like 10 plus. And they'll go, no, you don't want that. Nope, very, very bad. You don't do that. He's like, no, I want 10 plus. Okay, he does it. Excuse my accent. I'm just trying to be the Indian, but I have a terrible accent. Anyways, and you know what? Some places he might break a sweat at the 10 plus, maybe, but he'll eat the whole thing, no problem. He's amazed me. He really does need to go into the contest. So if you like the spicy stuff there, Thailand's a great place for you to go. I mean, there's some really spicy food there and fun. My wife, and I'll tell you, the streets of Thailand, when you're out there and you're walking around the streets in Bangkok or Pattaya or wherever you are, they'll have these street vendors, and they'll be serving food that you would never imagine that you would eat under normal circumstances. And I won't go into the major descriptions of it, but some of it's still moving, okay? And you're on the street in Bangkok, and my wife is very, very gastronomically adventurous, let's put it that way. And so she loves trying all these different venues, but she likes trying the really, really fancy stuff. Like if we're in Lima, Peru, when we were there, oh my gosh, that's got to be the gastronomical capital of Latin America. And she would go, to the really, really nice restaurants, because they have like 2 or 3 of the top 10 restaurants in the world in Lima. But then you go to the street vendors, right? And they're pulling out this fresh ceviche, and all the stuff is dirt cheap. I mean, just really, really inexpensive. And you can experience all that, whether it's Lima or Thailand or Bangkok, and they got all this crazy stuff. China, oh my gosh, in Beijing, they have this one, it's mainly for tourists, I think, but they have all this like deep fried starfish and scorpions and all this kind of really cool different food. It's really, really interesting. And actually, speaking of Thailand, we have our manager of Thailand, Leonard, on. Leonard, you didn't tell us what your favorite food was. You're going to have to come back and tell me because you live in Thailand. So I'm really curious to know what your favorite dish is there, Leonard. And Sly says, foreign food, fresh baked bread. American bread sucks. You know, Sly, yeah, Italy. Oh my gosh, the bread when I was there in Italy and France. We were just there this last summer in France, and oh my gosh, the bread there was amazing, the pastries and all that stuff. Yeah, you're right. Unless you can find a really good old school Jewish or Italian bakery or something like that, then you might be able to get some good bread here. But generally, I agree with you, Sly. Not very good here. And I love, I love fresh baked bread. I mean, I can't eat it because I look like the Pillsbury, the Pillsbury Doughboy. I mean, I look at a piece of bread and I gain 10 pounds. It sucks because I love bread, but you know, can't eat much of it anymore. It's not good. All right, that's my problem. I'm sorry. Okay, Ryan says best food, duck. No one serves duck in the USA. Ryan, if you are ever in Phoenix, you should come to our house because my wife makes the best duck. Even this last weekend, being stuck at home, we prepared a really nice meal, pretend like we went out. We ate it upstairs on the patio, you know, the tablecloth, the candles, all that stuff, and then pretend like we were in a French bistro, and she made duck breast. And she'll do twice cooked or twice baked duck, or whatever it is, with the confit with the leg too. That's cooked all day and it just peels off. And then, but this other duck breast that she does with this sauce and everything, and then sometimes she'll throw in a foie gras or escargot, which I know some of you probably don't like, but that's pretty amazing too. Amazing. And you're right, it is hard to get that in the United States, but you go out and again, France and other places like that, and you can get that really, really good. But yeah, duck here, not easy. So Ryan, you're in Phoenix, let me know. We'll bring you over, cook up some really cool duck. Sorry, I might be writing checks that Tanya doesn't want a cat, but hopefully she'll be okay with it. I'm sure she will. Tanya's wonderful. She's a trooper. You just have to get some good French wine in there, and then, yeah, she's fine. All right, Roy, I sent an email sign for the Detroit seminar and I haven't had any type of response. Is that seminar still on, or should I have received a response by now? Roy, you should have gotten something today. I just talked to Michelle. She's the one in charge of coordinating it all, calling the guys, sending them emails, telling them how to register. Well, not, you've already RSVP'd, but telling them how to log in and when and all for that. That's going to be on this Sunday, on the 3rd. So if you don't hear anything by tomorrow, email groupdesk@loveme.com, groupdesk@loveme.com, and she will make sure you get everything, okay? Richard, my man Richard, you are still in the Philippines now. Are you still there? Good evening, John. I am still in Cebu. The quarantine is extended until May 15th. So you are still stuck in, well, Richard, I imagine, okay, this is just off the top of my head, but I imagine that there are worse fates that could befall you than still being stuck in the Philippines with your fiance. You know, guys, Richard is an amazing man, great guy, and he went over and he did it. He's got some eyesight issues, some health issues going on, but you know what? He put all that away. He traveled over. Rana helped him. Rana actually traveled over with him. Rana and Rob, they actually got out of the Philippines about a day before they started that quarantine that is not allowing anybody to leave. So they just escaped that. But Richard is still there. But he's an amazing man. He did it. He could have come up with a million excuses. I mean, he really could have, because he had some issues going on. But he put those aside. He came to Phoenix. He got to really understand how all this worked. We met with him. I picked him up actually at the airport. I still remember going to that drive-through with you. Remember that, Richard? That was hilarious. So we got and then you know, we met with you all day the next day and decided the best course of action for you, right? We decided it wasn't really the executive, and you went a different course of action, and that worked. So congratulations. I'm glad that you're doing well there. And there's another gentleman that I told you guys about last week, and I'd been so busy this week I never got a chance to call him back. And he went to the Philippines and stayed a month there, and he's got so many different stories to tell that I want to get him on Skype so I could show that interview tonight, and I just didn't get time to do it. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to call Mike sometime this week so that by next week you guys could show that, or maybe Rana will show that on her show. Maybe I can try and do that tomorrow, and Rana can show that on Wednesday, because Rana will be doing her show from the plush studios at her home, where she's nice and safe, quarantining with Rob and their children. So she'll be able to do her show Wednesday night. So guys that are very interested in the Philippines, make sure you log in for that one as well. All right. Joseph wants to know, is there still flower delivery, especially with Mother's Day coming up here, which is a little different for them out there. They celebrate that a different day. But if you want to think of them during that time and send her some others, if she send her some flowers, if she's a mother and has a child, you may want to do that. And yes, we are still doing flowers, but it's kind of on a case-by-case basis. Really depends on the destination and the woman herself. We've had some women that just were afraid to accept any gifts. They just, no, I don't want anything delivered. So we've had to refund that and just hold off on it. In some cases, it's just very difficult to get the flowers delivered because of what's going on. And if that's the case, we'll refund it as well. But you can try, and we will try, and we are doing them. We are getting most of the deliveries done. So yeah, all right. All right. Melvin says about the poll question, your favorite food or tradition. He's saying that the food for him is in Ukraine is borscht, and in Peru it's the lomo salata, meat and gravy that tops the rice and fish, both hearty and delicious. All right, Melvin, I like that, and I'm going to tell you, one of my favorites, it's almost like a comfort food for me, is the borscht, the really good borscht. And my wife is one of the few people that can make the really good borscht, because borscht is a word that is used to describe a certain dish, but that dish can change in a million different ways. And there's another dish I really like, and it's more of a kind of a Latin type dish, but paella, Spanish really. But that is another dish that you can say paella, but again, depending on how you make it, what you put in it, you know, everyone, it's a little bit different. It's kind of like this peasant type thing that's really, really good. And I really do like borscht. It's wonderful when it's done right with a little garlic bread type thing and everything. That's one of my favorites. Okay. And there's another thing that I really like, and it's called tabak chicken. We tried making that last night, came close, but it's still very difficult to do. They kind of take this really, really heavy press and they smash the chicken down and put some really cool herbs in it. Oh, but then, you know, I can go on to the Georgian restaurants with those really cool breads that we were talking about with Sly a little bit earlier. Oh my gosh, the Georgian, if you've never had Georgian food, you've got to go to a Georgian restaurant. Their food is so special and so cool, especially the breads with the filled with cheese and stuff like that. Fried cheese they do with, I mean, I'm telling you guys, if you've never been outside the country, I mean, I'm really hungry now just talking about the stuff we're talking about. But if you've never been outside the country, you owe it to yourself as a single male to go explore it, not only for the wealth of opportunity you get with the whole dating thing that we give to you when you go, but also just all this food and stuff we're talking about. I mean, it's just so cool. You know, I cringe. I mean, literally cringe when I see guys walking into a McDonald's when we're in the Ukraine, right? Or in China going to KFC, because they're everywhere. The KFCs, the McDonald's, they're there, right? But you don't need to go there. You've been there. You've done that. You need to try something different, right? You go try something that you never do. I'm serious. Go with a friend that doesn't speak the language and go to a restaurant, like I was talking about earlier, just get a menu and just point to something and you'll get it. And you'll have no idea what you're going to get. It's an adventure. It's fun. I've done that several times and I'm usually fine with whatever I get. Sometimes like, I didn't expect that. But it's okay because it's just very interesting. All right. Let's see here. Blue says, I found when I went over before most restaurants have sushi or something she will like when it comes to seafood. Yeah, sushi's pretty popular in most of the destinations that we go to, especially in Eastern Europe right now. Sushi became really, really popular, so you see a lot of sushi places over there. I don't do a lot of sushi when I'm over there. What's interesting is Tanya and I went to Japan and we tried the sushi there, and I gotta tell you, I like the sushi better here than there. Now, the Kobe meat and all that cool stuff, that was really, really good. Very, very small portions because it's very, very expensive. You don't need a lot, and you don't even need a knife or anything because it just melts. It's really, really good if you're into that kind of beef. But the sushi, although very fresh, very good, but they didn't have like all the different rolls. Maybe we just didn't go to the right places, but we were right in downtown Japan and downtown Tokyo. And it just wasn't as varied as some of the restaurants we've gone to here in the States as far as the choice of different rolls and stuff like that with sushi. But that's just what I found. All right, let's see. Leonard says, for information, 83% of the women that attend AFA socials in Thailand rate their English as good or better. And that's good. And actually, quite a few women in Thailand will speak some English. Now, some of them may be a little bit more optimistic when they rate it as good or better because they're rating it. But all in all, I will say that the communication is a little bit easier in Thailand compared to some of the destinations that we go to. Okay. Joseph says, favorite foreign food is pasta carbonara. Favorite tradition is family dinners. Sounds like a good Italian guy there. Yeah. With the name Joseph, yeah, probably is Italian. And family dinners are very important. I remember growing up as a kid, those family dinners were really, really important, and we tried to do them with our family. And then, life and technology got in the way, and it got harder and harder to bring that family together, at a certain time. And not just when I say life, one's got baseball game, one's got dance, one's doing this, one's doing this. And the family dinners got harder and harder to do all the time. But they are important. They're a great opportunity for everyone to talk and share experiences and stuff. And it's really a neat way to become closer. All right, Dave, newbie here. Thanks to lockdown, how do people survive living in one place for a month? I know, Dave. It ain't easy. All right, getting letters from ladies 40 years younger. Are these really legit? Well, Dave, what happens is when a woman comes in, she will put together a profile and she will do an intro letter. The staff will help her with the intro letter. And then the staff, that's one of the reasons that these women join our service, is that they will help try to find a match for her. So they're the ones that will be sending out those letters to the different women for the most part, to the different men for the most part. So if you get an intro letter and there's a 40-year age difference, I would be suspect about that. And I would say, okay, is this woman really going to be interested in me, or is this just an overzealous matchmaker thinking that there's going to be a match or a possible match here? Because a 40-year age difference to me is the outlier and much, much more difficult to make happen. So you can limit the intro letters by region. You can turn them off altogether and only write women who you think you're interested in, or you can get them. If you get them, take them with a grain of salt. Not every woman's intro letter that you receive, wants to have your child tomorrow. It's just an indication that there may be an interest. And we say that right on the site, and it's important that you know that. So, I would probably, we talked about the whole age thing in depth already, so I'm not going to go into it too much, but yeah, I would definitely take it with a grain of salt. And just about anything Japanese for the poll question, except sea cucumber. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of sea cucumber either myself, particularly katsudon and yakisoba, and food from Swabash area of Germany. I'm mauling these names. My pronunciation sucks, but I'm just learning English, so bear with me. Sauerbraten, flavorful but not painfully spicy. Yeah, there's not a lot. I was in Germany. There's not a lot of spicy food going on in Germany. Fire sausage, okay, but he's saying that's not really even that spicy. Yeah, German. You got the potatoes and the sausages, bratwurst, all that kind of cool stuff, but not a lot of real spicy stuff there. Okay, Ryan wants to know which country has had the highest rate of marriages. Is it the Philippines? For pure numbers, maybe the Philippines. Get a lot of fiancés, a lot of marriages out of the Philippines, so that could be. But the Ukraine gets quite a few too. It's funny because Liz was just in here getting some information for the IMBRA that a gentleman from a year ago now needs because he's going through the fiancé visa process. And she was saying that, you know, it seems like this is like the 9th or 10th guy from that July tour of last year that is now doing the fiancé visa process with a woman. So guys, just because you have a tour that goes, say, from July 1st to July 10th, and maybe you have 1 or 2 guys that are starting the fiancé visa from that tour, that does not mean that that was it for that tour, that that's all the connections or the possible marriages that were going to come from that particular tour, because a lot of times, just like what happened, you know, last week, it could be a year later when they'll call and say, oh, now, you know, we're finally getting ready to move forward and we need that IMBRA form information so that we can submit it to the government. And that happens quite often. So, you know, you got to keep that in mind. But yeah, Philippines is very popular as well. Derek says, Dina said our food sucks here. Yeah, Dina probably did say that. She did say she got used to it and it got a little bit better, but she did have that. You're right, Derek. She had a problem with the food here when she first got here. It's funny, you know, when Tanya first got here, I took her to this kind of fast food Mexican food restaurant here in Arizona. If you guys from Arizona and California would probably know the name Filiberto's, right? It's kind of like, it's not quite a Taco Bell. It's a little bit higher level than Taco Bell as far as the food goes, but it's, you know, drive-through basically with a little bit of seating inside. And they had these huge fish burritos. I mean, these things were monster burritos, right? And they were, you know, relatively inexpensive, probably $6 or something. And for some reason, I just took her to Filiberto's just for something different when she first got here. And she fell in love with that fish burrito. I mean, she just loved the fish burrito. I thought it was really funny. And to this day, she doesn't go there very often, but if she does go, she'll still get like the fish burrito or something like that. And, you know, it's just fun because she's never had that in Russia. It was the first time she ever tried this Mexican fish burrito thing, right? Again, the unintended kind of cool consequences of me enjoying seeing her try things for the first time. That first fish burrito, that first Mexican food experience, that first trip to wherever, California or New York. Oh my gosh, because when we first came in, we came in through New York and we stayed there a couple of days, and she was almost ready to go back to St. Petersburg, Russia, because New York was tough. I mean, you know, busy, and people yelling and screaming, and I mean, just all kinds of stuff going on because New York is very fast-paced, right in New York City. And she was a little intimidated, even though she came from a city of 5 million, 7 million plus in St. Petersburg. It was a different feel. And I kept having to reassure her that, you know, Phoenix is a little more laid back than New York. Trust me, it's a lot different. And when she got here, she kind of relaxed a little bit more because it was quite a bit different. But now that we've gone back to New York several times over the last 20-some years, she really enjoys it. Loves New York, loves Broadway, loves seeing a show there or something like that. So, yeah. All right. Let's see here. Let's see. We've got a lot of you guys chiming in here, so that's great. Leonard said that the latest info is that Thailand reopens the borders on May 31st. Let's hope so. I'm keeping optimistic about that. I just heard on the news today that the cases in Thailand were declining, and so that might be true, Leonard. I'm hoping that happens. That would be great. All right. Oh my gosh, I got a ton of questions here. Hold on, guys, I'm getting there. All right. Blue says, John, can you make sure that the July Kiev tour is not canceled? I really want to go. You got it, Blue. They're not canceling that damn tour. I'll make sure of it. I'm going to send a letter to their president and to Trump and to everybody and say, hey, do not cancel that tour. All I can tell you, Blue, is that if I have anything to do with it, I want that tour to go. I miss seeing you guys going over. I miss going over myself. I mean, I was there in February, which is good. That was just a couple months ago, so at least I got to go then. But I miss seeing the video back from the tours. I know that we want to do that July tour desperately. So if there's anything that we can do, if it's within our power, we'll do it, okay? I mean, I can tell you that we will do it as long as they'll let us do it. And if we have to, redo a little bit on how we do the socials or whatnot, then we'll look into that. And we're open to that. But we want you there. We want you meeting these wonderful women, and they want to meet you. So it will go on, guys. All right. Jim says, hello AFA, is the tour to Thailand still on? I have several friends who know your Operation Thailand and speak highly of it. Are you writing this? Leonard, you're writing this, aren't you? I live in Hanoi, Vietnam, and although I see you have women in Vietnam, I cannot find any record of you here. Please explain. We are there. We have an affiliate in Vietnam who's working with us. We're not doing tours there just yet, though. Maybe that's what you're not finding. And as far as we know, and like Leonard just said, that Thailand is getting ready to reopen their borders at the end of May. So yes, that tour is still on for now, and hopefully it will be. The only question that I have, guys, and look, we're very transparent here. I'm not going to sit here and try to just sugarcoat stuff for you and all that. But one concern I have is when a country opens its borders again, what are the conditions going to be, right? Is it going to be that, well, okay, you can come, but you have to quarantine for 14 days? Okay, well, that's not going to work very well. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to go over there 14 days before the tour starts and sit in a hotel room? Probably not. So we have to see what the conditions are on foreign travel that other countries are going to be setting. And we have to make sure that we can abide by those and make it all work, right? So that's important. But we'll see. I mean, I think it's going to happen. All right. Duck, duck, duck. Let's keep going here. David says, my favorite tradition, we go on the tour as single men, and by the end of the tour, we develop lifelong relationships. Every night, the guys meet in a hotel lobby or restaurant, bar area, and exchange our experiences, desires, and hopes together. This tradition is filled with laughs, encouragement, and the memories are priceless. David, I couldn't have said that better, and I really appreciate you taking the time to share that with you. David's been on a few tours with us. And this, guys, I'm going to reread what he said, because what he said is exactly what I'm trying to say here tonight for kind of our theme about how you get these unintended consequences when you go on the tour. Good things. Usually when you say unintended consequences, it's a bad thing. These are good things that happen. These side benefits that happen of the tours. And so David said, my favorite tradition, we go on the tour as single men, and by the end of the tour, we develop lifelong relationships. Guys, I can tell you that I still talk to some guys that I met over 20 years ago on these tours, and I'm still friends with them. Matter of fact, there's a couple I know that Tanya and I are very, very good friends with still. We have holidays together still, and they've been married longer than we have. I mean, you develop these lifelong friendships with these people. It's amazing. And that's what David's talking about there. Every night, the guys meet in the hotel lobby or restaurant, bar area, and exchange our experiences, our desires, and our hopes together about what's going on. And this tradition is filled with laughs, encouragement, and the memories are priceless. I could not have said that better, and I've been doing this for 25 years. It's so hard to relate this to you. I get a little teary-eyed when you write something like that, because I've experienced it so many times on all these different tours, and it's so fun. So I try to tell people, I come back and my face hurts. It hurts because I'm laughing so much, because it's really, really enjoyable to do something like this. This is so unique. It's so different. And it's worth the price of admission, even if you don't meet the woman of your dreams and you don't end up getting married from this tour. It's still worth the price of admission because you had so much fun. You had the vacation that, if not of a lifetime, one of them. Okay? And so you have really nothing to lose when you go on one of these things. And I'm so proud that our staff has been able to do this for you guys for the last 20 some years. I'm so proud that they've been able to put this stuff together for you, and they've been there to help you, to navigate you through all this stuff, because they're the ones that are the heroes of all this. They're the ones that do the great job. And I use that term hero, lightly, because there's so much going on right now in the world. When I just said that, I'm thinking about all the frontline workers, the hospital people do. I mean, they're true heroes. But the people that are working with you at this staff, They deserve to be commended for the work that they do. I mean, it's tough work, it's hard work, and sometimes it's thankless work, but most of the time not. Most of the time, the men and the women are very thankful for everything that the staff is doing for them. All right, let's keep going here because you guys have a lot of questions and we're going to be running out of time as usual. And by the way, guys, my favorite tradition, my foods, I have so many favorite foods out there, it's crazy. So I really can't, I like the borscht, I like all the other stuff I talked about. I mean, a good veal Parmesan, oh my God. And there's a place inside the country, I gotta tell you, in Texas, Kenny's in Addison, Texas, right outside Dallas, that has the best veal Parmesan. It's such a cool Italian restaurant. And I've been to Italy and I've seen all that there, and their food is amazing too, it's different. But this place, oh my gosh, it's great, and it is in Dallas. My favorite tradition, or one of the best traditions that I got out of marrying my wife, who was from Russia and brought all of her cultural traditions and everything. One of them is, it has to do around New Year's, right? Because they don't really celebrate Christmas in the same way we do. They celebrate what's called, they celebrate New Year's. They get a New Year's tree instead of a Christmas tree. They do New Year's gifts instead of Christmas gifts. Their Christmas is Orthodox, Russian Orthodox Christmas, which is January 7th. And so December 25th doesn't mean a whole lot to them, but I'll tell you what, December 31st, January 1st means a ton to them. That is their holiday. And before I met my wife, I was asleep at 10 o'clock at night on December 31st because I thought that New Year's Eve was for the, the rookies, but amateur night out, all that. But I'll tell you what, my wife has totally changed me on that, and now, we always, every New Year's Eve, about 10 o'clock at night, when I would normally be getting ready to go to bed, all these Russians and Americans and Filipinos now, and all kinds of different people descend on our house. And we have this huge New Year's Eve party, which is such a fun thing. And all these different cultures come together. And these Russians bring all this crazy Russian food that glows in the dark and has fur on it and all kinds of weird stuff. And they're all talking and partying. And then these traditions of burning these notes at these wishes you make and putting your champagne and drinking it. All this cool stuff. Never would have happened to me if I did not marry a woman from another culture. And I didn't appreciate and see that culture, and she didn't share that with me. I never would have experienced all this stuff. And so there's another side benefit to doing something like this, because when you do go over and you experience all these different things in these women's countries, and then you marry one of them, it's like marrying that culture. And you've enriched yourself so much, whether she's Peruvian or she's Russian or Ukrainian or from China or Chinese or Thai or whatever it is. You're going to then experience all those cultures, from the holidays to the different foods to the different superstitions. Superstitions. All these different things, and it's so cool, and it's so enriching. Is, I guess, the only the word that comes to mind. Okay. All right. I shouldn't have drinking that Mountain Dew. All right. Roy wants to know, are vaccinations required to travel to Peru? No, there are no required vaccinations to anywhere where we go. But, if you want to check with your doctor, tell him where you're going, see if he has any, vitamin B shots to give you, or maybe a tetanus shot if you haven't had one in 20 years, or, whatever that is, maybe. But there's nothing required. Okay. Greg wants to know, what is the itinerary for the September 10th to 25th tour to Ukraine? How many nights in each town? What transportation? That kind of question, Greg, it would be better, because I just don't have the time. It's almost 6:30 already, and I could talk for 30 minutes just on all that. So it's probably better that you call in and talk to me tomorrow sometime. You can just call the main number and ask for me, and I'll be more than happy. Or you can even email me at john@loveme.com. And I can email you back with that, because we use, nice hotels. So yeah, call me tomorrow. There's tons of stuff there you're asking about, all that, but that's all very specific to that September Ukraine tour, which I want you to go on. But the show is out of the scope of the show right now. So call me tomorrow and we'll talk about it. Let's keep going here. I noticed, Ryan said, I noticed you've had a lot of profiles in Bogota and Cali. Any chance of hosting a tour in one of these cities? You know, that's something that I need to talk to with our people there in Colombia, mainly Maria and Patricio and with Ken, and see if it makes sense at some point to actually do that. We're already doing socials in Cartagena and in Barranquilla and in Medellin. So there's a possibility. It'd be kind of fun to do one in Bogota or Cali. We've never done it there before. In the past, we've always kind of focused on these other cities. So there's always that possibility. It wouldn't be till next year at the soonest, especially given everything that's going on now. The last thing we're going to do is start throwing on more tours. We want to try and get done the tours that we have now. But yeah, there's always that chance. Let's see. Richard says, I made a few great friends and best friend that we are like brothers, Ernest, and I still talk on Messenger, Facebook. Yeah, Ernest is another great guy. He's got such a great personality and tons of energy, and he met his fiance and that same tour, I think, with Richard. I talked to him not too long ago as well. So yeah, that's great that you guys are still talking together. All right, Francis says, Vietnamese pho is my favorite foreign dish. Cool, that's wonderful. We gotta get you to Vietnam sometime. There's some wonderful women on the site there, so you never know. All right, Shelton says, I see a lot of women from Playa, but you don't have any tours there. How can I go about meeting some of the women there? You'd have to go individually because we don't have tours there yet, although we're talking about trying to do a group tour there next year. So again, we won't add anything this year, but next year we may be doing a group tour there. And I'm really looking forward to that. But in the meantime, before we do that, and if you want to go, just email travel@lumby.com because it would be an independent tour that you'd have to do there, independent travel, and Anna can help you, put you in contact with the people that will help you set that up. Larry says, strawberries Romanoff. Strawberries Romanoff. Huh, that's interesting. I don't think I've ever tried that. I like strawberries Romanoff. Okay, I'm going to give that a shot. Chuck says, are there any weird gift-giving traditions or exceptions in Ukraine that we should know? Several Ukrainian ladies from November 2019 Ukraine tourists seem to expect I would buy a gift for them after 4 or 5 days. I'm thinking like, don't shake hands in a doorway, don't give an uneven number of flowers. Help John. Favorite food, anything from the seafood restaurant at the Hotel Milano in Odessa, Ukraine. Love that restaurant. I don't know if we got any footage of that restaurant. I'm sure we do. I don't know. It'd be probably hard for those guys to find it. But Hotel Milano is where we stay in Odessa normally, and they got a really, really cool restaurant there with all this fresh seafood on ice that's set out there, and clams, oysters, all that kind of cool stuff. You're right. That is really cool, Chuck. No, look, the women in the Ukraine, there's one thing about that. There's a lot of things about that, but one thing pertaining to this, I would say, is that, the women do a lot of work to be women. They really want to be feminine. They really want to explore their feminine side and to show that and be that. And they spend a lot of time and a lot of effort doing that. When you go over, you almost take it for granted, although at first you're like, oh my God, these are beautiful women, and you see the way they walk, the way they dress, the way they act. And so there's nothing wrong with giving them a small gift. Now, that's different than going on a shopping date and buying, $100 bottles of perfume and all that stuff. But, some flowers, some small gift, there's nothing wrong with that. You don't want to try to buy your way in because you can't do that, and women will just lose respect for you. But you want to show, as a man, your appreciation for what they're doing as a woman. And so some small gift, but something romantic, something cool. Not so much monetary value, but something else that's really cool that they'll really appreciate. When I met Tanya, I was doing all kinds of romantic little things, giving her little gifts like that, but nothing where I'd go out to the store and spend, $300, $400, $500 on a phone or an iPad or something like that. That's not very romantic. It's utilitarian, I suppose, but it's not that romantic. So keep that in mind when you're corresponding. As far as the weird gift giving, you're right. You don't want to give an even number of flowers to a woman because that is associated with a funeral. So you always want to give an odd number of flowers. Stay away from carnations. Again, that's kind of associated with a funeral, so I wouldn't be doing that. But other than that, there's not too many other really strange, crazy things with the gifts, I don't think, out there. Okay. Leonard says, okay, John, he's laughing. I'm English, so I'm sorry, Leonard. So, because, the English, they're not exactly known from their culinary exploits, but I'm English, so my favorite foreign food is an American hamburger. That's pretty funny. Seriously, you talk about Lima being the gastronomic capital of South America. The best Peruvian restaurant in the world is in above 11 on Sukhumvit Soy 11. Favorite foreign food is spicy chicken with rice. Okay. Favorite foreign tradition is now watching Thai people doing the wah whilst practicing social distancing. Okay. They do the wah, I'm not pronouncing that right. Then instead of shaking hands, they touch the elbows while staying 2 meters apart. Yeah, kind of cool. We're getting new traditions now, right? That's pretty funny. Cheeseburger, really, Leonard? Yeah. You got all that wonderful Thai food everywhere. I love Thailand for their food. Thailand, I mean, Tad Pai, all that kind of stuff over there I had when I was in Thailand. It was fantastic. Tanya loved it. Between that and China, she really loved the food in China as well. Doug says that Memphis, Tennessee, about the age difference. I am 60 and the young lady is going to be 39 on May 17th. Also, I would like to send flowers for her birthday and set up a phone call. You can do all that. No problem. And look, okay, so she's basically 40, you're 60. 20-year age difference, but she's 40, you're 60. That's a lot more doable than if she was 20 and you were 40, right? So I think that you're going to be fine there. Greg says, the Georgian food that I love is the ground meat wrapped up in grape leaves. Yeah, that's really good. But there's so many cool things. I mean, every time I go to Russia, we have to go to a Georgian restaurant at least once, if not 10 times. But we go because it's just so, and I love that bread dish. And remember I told you earlier I can't really eat that much bread, but oh my gosh, I make the exception when I'm there because they've got so many cool different ways they do this bread. And with cheese and egg and all kinds of stuff, it's really, really good. But then, yeah, their chicken, their kebabs, their all the Georgian food, so good. The Russian food's gotten so much better than it was 20 years ago, too. The restaurants there are now amazing. They got a lot of these rooftop restaurants where you go up and you're on top of the roof, basically, and it's outside and you're overlooking the city. There's one right across from St. Isaac's Cathedral in St. Petersburg, Russia. And the view is amazing. I mean, you're on this rooftop looking directly into the cathedral. It's just some of the most amazing views you'd ever want to see. And then the food is outstanding. And the restaurant's called Blue Sky or something like that in Odessa. We usually take the staff there for dinner, when I'm there at least. I know you other Turliers, you're doing probably much more than I do. But that restaurant is one of the best restaurants I think I've ever been to. It's like 5 different really nice restaurants in one. You're going to like a seafood area, then a Russian area, and then an Italian area, and it's all done really, really nicely and so inexpensive. I could talk about the food stuff all night. All right, we're getting, I'm going to get the cards and letters again. We're going too late again. But I want to try to get through all these, so I'm going to keep going. So bear with me, please, the union guys. But Kirk does such a great job with all these guys. I'm sure that they bear with me for a little bit longer. Brock says, I live in a rural setting. I'm in the country about 30 minutes away from a city of 400,000. Do you think that Ukraine people would have a hard time adjusting to this? So you are 30 minutes out. No, not too bad. A city of 400,000, so that's not too bad. Is there a specific region that would adjust better? Well, Kiev, the women are going to be more used to a much more cosmopolitan area. So I would probably maybe think about someplace like Kherson, Sumy, Mykolaiv, Zaporozhye. Those kind of cities are a little bit smaller. Although they're still larger than what you're probably talking about, but I think the women would adapt a little bit easier. Okay. Are there good Uzbek restaurants in Kiev? Yes, absolutely. You'll find some there, no problem. Are Colombian women forgiving if the man is not a good dancer? Well, my wife was, and Colombian women, I think will be as well. You know, as long as you go out there, maybe give it a little bit of a try. They're used to the men not dancing so much. They'll dance with each other all night. If you go out there and dance a little bit, they're fine with that. And then they'll just, you know, sit down, and they like watching you watch them dance, right? And they'll dance with their girlfriends and stuff like that, and not a problem. So, you know, we all can't be John Travolta out there, okay? Yeah. All right. Wasn't even close. So, Aaron, more of a Kokoban kind of guy. John just jumped on, so great to see you. Hope you and the family are doing well. I have not done anything with dating since November. Things did not work out with a lady I met in Kiev. I will get in touch with you when things improve with travel. All the best to you. All right, Aaron. Well, I'm sorry that it did not work out with the one woman in Kiev, but the beautiful thing is that there are tons more. So, you know, you just got to get back on that horse and go back out there. Slaski says, if I'm interested in a woman from another agency, is it possible to get her to one of your meet and greets? Yeah, absolutely. If you can get the contact information from the other agency for that woman, then we'll be happy to make the call to her on your behalf and, you know, set up a date with her, either one-on-one with you, or we can invite her to join our agency as well if she'd like, and then come to the social. She'd have to join the agency to come. But, you know, women are free to join any agency they want. The one thing we couldn't do is contact the agency ourselves and try to get her contact information, because that wouldn't be ethical. But if you get the contact information from the agency, then of course you can contact her, and then she can do whatever she likes to do. So yeah, no problem. And we'll help you do that as far as contacting her. Rodriguez says, is there going to be more tours for next year to make up the lost tours? You know, I don't know. We're going to have to see how things go. We'll play that as it comes up. Hard just to make up for the lost tours, really, because a lot of guys, you know, they had opportunity to go on maybe these April tours, and now just because we add another April tour next year, is that really going to make up for it? So kind of hard to figure that out. But like I said, we are looking to maybe try and do some tours to destinations that we didn't do this year, and that schedule will be coming out again here. Where are we? We're coming up on May, so in another month or two you'll see the schedule for next year coming up. All right. Leonard said, memories. It was 20 years ago I first met my wife on your tour in the Orianda in Yalta, despite having met Ken around St. Petersburg the previous February. Yeah, Leonard, that goes way back, huh? And that was a beautiful hotel in Yalta. That was in the Crimea, right? Yalta. That is now Russian, but when we went, it was Ukrainian. But the Russians have kind of taken it over now. But we still actually go there with one-on-one introductions or whatnot in Yalta, Sevastopol, and Simferopol. So that whole Crimea area is beautiful, and Yalta is gorgeous. And I remember being there with you, Leonard, 20 years ago, and in that restaurant, remember, the restaurant with a nice buffet and everything, and the food, and that was a really nice hotel. I remember that like it was yesterday. All right. Which is pretty good, because I don't remember what I had for dinner yesterday. Dennis, I am 73 years old and have been contacted by women with 2 children, never married, and 33. What should I think? Run like hell? Yes, Dennis, run like hell. I think that's tough. I think that age difference is going to be really, really difficult to pull off. And if I were you, I probably would run like hell, and probably get looking to women in their, you know, from 50 and above, somewhere around there. You would do well. So yeah, that would be my advice to you. But no one ever listens to me anyway, so. Yeah. All right, how many women in the 45 to 58 year age group attend your events? Actually, you'll get quite a few women in their 40s and early 50s, not so many women 55 and up. Maybe a few, depending on the demographics of the group, because we do try to invite women based on the age range of the group. And if we have some older men, especially that put down women in their mid-40s to mid-50s, then we're going to try to get those women to attend the socials. Some of those women may be more comfortable just doing a one-on-one introduction than coming to the social, which is fine. We'll set that up as well. But whatever works, we'll do for you. All right. Mark says, hello, John, I'm sorry I missed your show. Well, Mark, at least you're here now, so that's not too bad. You didn't give me your poll question, though. I had strawberries Romanoff in a parfait glass. Strawberries, brown sugar, and sour cream. Sounds good, Bill. Sounds very good. Okay, Leonard says it's pronounced Y, the hand gesture that looks like you are praying. The Y. Yeah. Well, you know what? I butchered a lot of terminology here tonight, and I'm really, really sorry about that. My pronunciation, well, I mean, come on. I say tur. I'm not... I really got to take some English lessons one of these days. All right. Are you all familiar with a Nigerian-born pastor who has a mega church in Kyiv, Ukraine? I am not really up to speed on that, but I imagine our people in Ukraine are. If you have any questions, they'd be more than happy to help you with that. And Mark says, and this is going to be, I think, the last question here. John, would a Filipina have a problem with New England winters? Yes, Mark, yes, they would, I think, because they're cold. Oh, I don't know. I think that, look, love is an amazing, amazing tool, amazing thing, an amazing way to overcome just about anything. So, if a woman has spent her whole life in the Philippines, has never seen snow, and you come over there and knock her socks off, and you take her to New England, and you guys have the worst winter you've ever had, as long as you can keep her warm and build a nice romantic fire, and give her a lot of rice, I think she'll be happy, because love isn't about all these external things. It's about what's in here. And, it's about making each other happy, whatever's going on externally. As long as internally you guys are close and you're happy and you're connected, then it doesn't really matter where you're living or what you're doing. All these external things really don't mean a whole hell of a lot if you don't have a really good connection with that woman. If she's only marrying you, like Tanya told me, for the weather, she still jokes that she just married me because it was too cold where she was from in St. Petersburg, wanted to come to Phoenix where it was nice and warm. But I think there was more to it there than with Tanya. So, it's important that you have that sense of connection and all those chemistry things that we always talk about here. And it doesn't really matter where you are. You'll have the love. All right? Well, guys, this was fun. I enjoyed it. Got to talk a little bit about food and traditions and things like that. Things that we just don't think about so much when we think about going, well, you're going on that tour to meet that woman, right? Oh, you'll hear that from people like, oh, yeah, it's on that tour to meet that woman. Yeah, that's all we ever do. The whole tour, we're just meeting women 24/7, constantly. We're doing nothing else except that. Really? I mean, that's ridiculous, right? That's just idiotic. There's so many different layers to what we do, to what you're going to experience when you're there. The socials, the one-on-one dates, yeah, that's a big part of it, but that's only a part of it. There's so much more. And it's just so fun that when you go through all this, if you keep an open mind and you have a good sense of humor and you have fun, you're going to come out of this thinking, that was great. I want to do that again. And you might not be able to if you did meet the woman of your dreams, which is fine, because then you go on a different path and you'll go back and you'll explore things with her, and that's great. But if you didn't, there's a good chance that you might go back. You might go back to the same destination. We have guys that go back to the Ukraine multiple times. Maybe they'll go to a different city, though. Instead of Kiev, they'll go to Dnipro, or they'll go to Odessa, or they'll go to Kharkov, or maybe they'll go to the Philippines, or they'll go to Costa Rica, or they'll go to Peru. Or it's really cool because you could pick any of these destinations and go and experience it and get the same level of service that you got from the other one. It's kind of like a McDonald's, only a lot better. But when you go to McDonald's, you know kind of what to expect, right? Whether you're in Asia or Latin America or Eastern Europe, you can go to that McDonald's and there's going to be a Big Mac. There's going to be people that are going to be, for the most part, courteous to you and take care of you. You know what to expect. That's kind of what like this is, where you can go to these different regions of the world. And if you've been on an AFA tour before, you're pretty much going to know what to expect. They're going to be different. There's going to be differences, right? But all in all, you're going to be well taken care of. You're going to have nice accommodations. You know that the socials are going to be amazing. You're going to have all these things because it's an AFA tour. Simple as that. And no one else does it. Not like what we do. All right. This was fun. I enjoyed it. But I know you're probably getting tired of me, so we're going to work out a way that we can get Dina or Anna or someone back maybe for you next week, so you'll have a different perspective and a much prettier face. Although this isn't bad, come on. I haven't colored the hair yet or not, but I don't know. No, I'm just joking. We'll try to get you all that hopefully next Monday. But this Wednesday, you will have Rana on, so she's going to be doing her show again this Wednesday. So please be looking out for that. That'll be fun as well. She's very informative. She's got a ton of energy, and she's just fun to have around. So and I'll tell you, I mean, as far as matchmaking skills go, she is moving right up there. She's doing a fantastic job. Just ask Richard, who's still in the Philippines, and others that she's helped. I mean, so many marriages that she's helped bring together already in just a short period of time that she's been working now with us. She's doing amazing things, and she's got a long ways to go, many, many years of matchmaking ahead of her. All right, so look out for her show on Wednesday, and until next week, whoever's here, I'm sure that it'll be informative and fun. All right, guys, be safe out there, wash your hands, do all that good stuff, and we'll get through all this together. I'll talk to you soon.
Hello, my name is Tatiana. I'm here to find a man with whom I create a family, who will give me much attention, and I'm sure I can find it here.
Hello, my name is Anna, and I want to meet a man who will be a part of my heart.